Well, there's something really exciting happening today, which maybe a few of you knew about, but I assume it will be news to most of you. I'll invite Jason Lee to come up. I wasn't here last week. I was just on vacation for almost 2 weeks. I just missed one Sunday, but went on a beach vacation with my parents and my sister's family and our family, and then back to Arkansas, where I'm from, for a week. But I know that most of you saw Jason. If you were here last week, you saw Jason deliver our finance update. He's been serving as part of our finance committee for a year and some change, probably, something like that. But there's more. But wait, there is more. At Door of Hope, churches are governed in all kinds of different ways. There are different traditions of, in understanding, of course, the Bible and church leadership. But the way we understand what the New Testament holds up for church leadership is that it ought to be led and is kind of finally, there's a group of people that are finally responsible before God for the spiritual health of local churches called elders. And we have currently 3 elders, myself and Joel Law and Alexander Mansour, and we have been in the process now for months with Jason as an elder candidate. So the way this works is there are just people within the congregation that get recommended within the congregation, people who've been serving and leading and just exhibiting just this kind of deep maturity that the role calls for. And Jason was one of those people, and we reached out to him and said, hey, there's numerous people that think you would be a wonderful fit for this role. And he considered it, prayed about it, and decided to take the step in to elder candidacy. And so the elders have been working with Jason for several months now, both going through our church's doctrine and organizational structure and what is involved in eldership, and then invited him into elder meetings to participate and just kind of see what's it like, and what's the chemistry like, and is this even a world that you would like to dip your toe into once you see it up close? And graciously, thankfully, Jason said yes. And so on behalf of the elder team, I'm pleased to put forward Jason as someone that we believe is qualified, has the character, the integrity, the spiritual maturity, the alignment with our church and its vision and its doctrine to say, we think he ought to be an elder here. And with that, though, the final step of the way we do things is that we think that should not be a decision. Virtually no decision should be made this way, just in a closet, in a vacuum, with just a few people weighing in on it. And so we always like to put it forward to the congregation, to you, and we're going to chop this video up from the live stream and put it up online, put it up through our newsletter so that everyone has a chance to see and weigh in. For a period of public vetting from our church congregation. And so we understand, I mean, I've known Jason and Grace, I've met you guys pretty soon after I started attending at Door of Hope, I think. It's been years, 7 or 8 years, so I know you guys well, but I know there are people in this room that may know you better than me. There are people that may have more intimate relationship. There are people that may, God forbid, have like horror stories of you, Jason. Your children, we'll interview them later. But no, in all seriousness, it's part of the process. We understand that you all, the congregation, some of you have deep relationship, have history, you've been in small group and community group, served along Jason in various ways, and we need your input. And so the call is, if you have any reason why you think Jason is unfit to step into this role, we would like to hear from you. And those are things we would want to either address, or in some cases, those things are just potentially just disqualifying outright. But it's a piece of safety for our congregation to make sure that the people who step into this role are only people who are qualified, and that our congregation resoundingly and uniformly agrees that they ought to. So anyway, that all sounds very heavy. We suspect there's not going to be those things, but if there are, we need to address them, and that's your role in this process in protecting our church and our church leadership. But sad stuff and scary stuff aside, Jason, I just want to say thank you for going through this process. It's been time consuming. We've dug into personal things together and boring things together and everything in between. So just thank you for being willing to do this. For those in the room that maybe don't know you, would you maybe just give us a couple of minutes of just the 10,000 foot level, who you are and who your family is and so on. Yeah.
Cameron, thank you. And yeah, thank you to yourself, Joel, Alexander, and to the rest of you, that this is really a church that Grace and I truly feel at home, and that this is our community. And that really starts with the pastor and the eldership. And I really knew, because I've seen, I mean, it's hard to say a broken church because we're all broken. You know, when you see things under the hood, you're kind of like, ooh, I don't want to be a part of that. You know, I'm fine with sitting on that side and not know what's going on. And that's something that God truly stirred in my heart. And actually, to be completely honest, Cameron asked me a lot earlier, and in my selfish heart, I said, no, like everything's good. COVID's happening. There's too much chaos. I don't want to invite any more chaos and more of myself into this. And that's where God really challenged more of that throughout this whole process. And for those of you, I'm sure a lot more of you know my wife, Grace Kim. I am Jason Lee, and she's Grace Kim. And there's a whole story behind that, because we did.
There's also Grace Lee, or Grace George, married to Lee George. Or I think I saw Grace. Yeah. It just gets complicated. Continue.
Yes, indeed. But anyways, that's my much better half, Grace Kim. And I have 2 kids. You may have met them. Eden Lee, she's 10, and Jesse, he's 6, just got out of kindergarten. But yeah, kind of how I started with Door of Hope before we came to Portland, because we've been living here for 8 or 9 years. Grew up in California, Bay Area, and met my wife in Santa Cruz, very liberal school, and very interesting time following the Lord at that kind of school, but it was truly awesome. And then all of a sudden, after we graduated, God called us to serve in missions over in China, and that was a decision where it's interesting. A lot of these milestones, as we look back in our life, we're like, wow, we weren't so excited at getting into it. And that's where there's kind of like a Jonah moment. We're like, God, really? Is this something you're really calling us to do? And looking back at it, I'm like, absolutely, yes. This was a major part of our life that truly formed and grew us to who we are now. So we actually were sent apart, because we were not married at the time, by our missions agency. And we wouldn't call ourselves missionaries. I feel like mission should be a part of everyone, a Christian life, period. But living there, yeah, it totally disrupted a lot of our hopes and our dreams in terms of our career and what we wanted to be. But God truly formed something inside of us where I was part of an international church in Beijing for about 6 years. And I worked with a house church, for a Chinese house church. And those were the days where we saw a lot of leadership in a lot of different churches and how they were governed and formed, and unfortunately, like, grew apart. And that's where it brings me now. I'm like, do I still want to be a part of this? And then having the absolute privilege to see the international church, right? You hear of these stories, or like, you know, one day in heaven, all tongues, all native countries coming together. And we got to see a piece of that in Beijing, because it was just a big international hub. We were worshiping with Africans and Southeast Asians, and it was like the true picture of like, why do we want to leave this? And then coming to Portland, very different. And this was like, is this a culture that we're really called to? And I left without finding a job. It was just really about coming here and being close to family, because our daughter Eden was born in Beijing. And that's where God just kept opening up further doors. Grace started out at Warner Pacific University, and then myself started out as an administrator with the Murdoch Trust. It's a private foundation that gives grants to nonprofits in the Pacific Northwest, and I'm still there now. And yeah, so God has just brought us through. We served at Door of Hope for the last 8 or 9 years as community group leaders. That's where I first met Cam and Suze for the first time. And yeah, it's just quite a long journey, and I know there's more to tell, but if you have further questions on my life or our life as a family, I'd love to connect with you. I want to apologize up front. I really have the worst memory some have said, oh, you have childhood amnesia. And my wife would say, you have life amnesia. Like, you can't even remember what we did. It would be Christmas of what we did last Thanksgiving. I just can't recount any specific detail of it. So, and we're like, why are we bringing this guy into the church if he can't recollect anything? But it's pretty selective. When God calls me to something, I know it's there. But yeah, just thank you for your time, and just looking forward to knowing more of you and your story. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just want to honor, the ways in which Jason, you and Grace, both of you have just served Door of Hope so faithfully for a decade, and continue to. I kind of get emotional thinking about people like you. I'm so grateful to God for your friendship and for your service here. Thank you. So, this is funny. If you want to share anything, either encouragement or, hey, I do have a concern I'd like to raise about Jason as an elder candidate, we've got a couple of weeks, and we'll put more information in the newsletter that'll go out. But you can reach out directly via email to myself, Cameron at doorofhopepdx.org, or to Joel at doorofhopepdx.org, or to Alexander, who's been an elder for like a year, and we haven't gotten him a Door of Hope email address yet. So you can reach out to his Gmail, which is, I don't know why that's funny to me, but it is. Maybe this week's the week. Maybe it's the week. We'll see. Do you even want one? No? Okay. So, email any of us or all of us with your thoughts, and we really do need them, and we really do value them to have healthy church leadership here. So thank you for being a part of that. Pray for us, pray for Jason, pray for our church. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Jessica.